Hey everybody, it's Deanna. How are you? And I am here with my friend Emilly Petroff. You've gone live with me before, and I'm so excited that you're actually coming back and doing it again. Emilly is a spiritual teacher, a speaker, an author, a life coach. She does it all, and she is freaking amazing at it. So, Emilly, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I adore you and everything that you do and teach, and even in addition to just like the what you do, you're freaking just an awesome chick. So any opportunity to be able to like collaborate and hang out, I'm all about it, sister.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. And we were hoping that there would be no glitches today. If you've been following me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, you'll see that the first 2 days of doing this the first was a big computer glitch. Then yesterday, I lost my Wi-Fi signal and went blank for about 30 seconds, which seemed like an eternity. And now just getting on this morning, we kind of glitched a little. So I hope we're live. And if not, you're going to be catching it on the replay. So whatever it is, it says we're live, but whatever, we're rolling with it, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
It's pretty much the theme of everything right now in life for everybody. Everybody's just pretty much rolling with it. And I know when I reached out to you and asked if you would do this, and I said, what do you want to talk about? And obviously it can be a number of things. And I loved that you said, perking up the panic, how to kick the panic and kick some ass. And I'm like, that's so cool, because we are all in like this panic mode right now and trying to figure out how to adjust and what to do. So let's open that up. Like, what are you hearing? How are you feeling? How are your clients? What's happening over there?
I think it's similar to what I'm hearing all across the board, right? Like it's on a day-to-day basis that we're all where we are. I feel like some days I'm really good, right? Like as close to normal as whatever normal can be. And then there are days where I'm like, ugh, like, is this ever going to get over with? Like, are things ever going to go back to normal? And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I feel like we don't really want it, or I don't want it to go back to normal, right? So, and I think it's important for us as entrepreneurs to really examine what that looked like. So, I think it's that way for me. My clients are experiencing that too, like from week to week, or, for me, I feel like we've been kind of at this now for close to a month, 5 weeks, some, right? So, some of those folks that I see weekly, I'm able to help them navigate it a little differently. Some of the ones that I see, maybe every other week or every couple of weeks, are kind of in that same space where it's like, gosh, yesterday I was really good, and today I'm like not good at all. And so I think that's the same. I think there's not one person right now that we could poll and ask them that wouldn't have some bit of similar response to that, right? I mean, so I think that's just, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that, right? Like, and I was sharing this with a group the other day. Some of the stuff that we're feeling, and I even had a gal that I was talking to this morning, she's like, I just feel crappy, but not really for any particular reason. Like, it's not that, I don't have any money, or it's not this, or it's not this. I just feel kind of ugh. And I'll tell you, like, not last week, but the week before, I had I do some relationship coaching as well, and I had a couple that came to see me, and they were really struggling. Like, they were having a really tough time, and it was like they were kind of like having this, like, let's say the D word, right? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. You guys are nowhere near talking about divorce. And so they started to explain to me a few of the things that were going on in their relationship, and some of the stuff that was coming up for them. And I'm like, those things are not representative of that conversation. Like, none of this stuff really belongs to you. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, energetically, there's so much happening, like in our communities, in our neighborhoods. So if we go down to your neighbors are having an emotional reaction and a response.
Right.
Your neighborhood is having an emotional reaction. Your city is having an emotional reaction. Your state is having an emotional like it just is this ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
We can't not, as human beings, take on some of that energetic impact, right? In some way, shape, or form. So if you're feeling ever like, I don't really have any major problems that aren't really what everyone else is experiencing, but I don't really know why I feel so bad. It could be just that there's this energetic, like this residual energy that's hanging out there that you kind of are taking on and you didn't know why. And there's a couple things that we can do, to kind of cleanse that and to like, oh yeah, this doesn't belong to me. Like I really don't feel bad taking on other people's stuff, right? So I think that's important to recognize, is to really like, is this mine? Like, is this the way that I feel today? Is this my emotional reaction to things? And if it's like, no, this isn't really how I feel, it could be that that's not your stuff, right? And for that couple, like it was an aha moment for them, right? And I think it's important to talk about couple stuff while we're even in business, because how many of us have relationships, either whether it's with a significant other or our children or whatever else we've got going on at home, that's a part of our business life, no matter, especially now, because we're all like, holy shit, my business partner is now my child who's 13, those are very real situations and things. And I think it's important to recognize and to give a lot of grace to ourselves, give a lot of grace to those that we're coming into contact with on a regular basis, because we don't know how they're taking it, right? We don't know what they're going through. And sometimes they don't even know, right? They're just upset for whatever, for no reason. So I think that, like that's, so that couple it was an aha moment for them. And they end up leaving going like, oh my God, I love you. And why would you ever even say that? Like, we don't want to get divorced. Like, there's nothing about us that wants to get divorced. We love each other. So I think it's important just to reconnect to the things that we know are, like really true inside of us. Right. And that kind of like soul response. So, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit now.
No. And everything you're saying is great stuff, right? Because I know I'm like, I'm like, I just like out of sorts. Right. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to my friends and they're saying the same thing. Like, I feel gross. I feel blah. And one thing that I do is I just go for a walk and get out of here. Mm-hmm. And I see so many people walking around and the sun feels amazing. Like, you never noticed it before this, right? As much. I didn't notice it as much. Now it's like, this feels like amazing just to get out and feel the sun and the heat and the warmth and all that. It's like, it's great. But what are some things that we can do? Because I agree with you. I think we're all feeling some sort of way right now. So what are some things that we can do?
Yeah. So I think that having an awareness about the emotions that we're feeling is really, really valuable, because number one, you can kick it if it doesn't belong to you, right? Send it stolen. And then number two, if it does belong to you and you're like, yeah, I'm really having a fear-based response to this, right? Or I'm having a worry or anxiety or whatever the emotion is, then you can really, like, when you know that it belongs to you and it is yours, you can really figure out what to do about that, right? And get some support. So I think the first thing is like really creating an awareness more than you've ever had before about the emotional reaction to things. Our emotions are authentic to us, right?
Yeah.
And they do come from our thought processes and our belief systems. So it's a really easier than most times to examine like what my belief systems are in regard to a lot of things, right? And that's not a common, like sometimes when we're navigating life normally, it's difficult to examine like, what is my belief about that? Because you're kind of just ebb and flow, like, nothing is going to disrupt you. This is a huge disruption for many of us. And so it becomes like an opportunity to examine and to let go of stuff that's not serving you anymore, right?
Oh, isn't that the truth? And boy, I feel that right now, because the beginning there, it was really stressful because of course we were going to Europe and our plans were still on to go to Europe in the beginning of March. And I know because my cousin lives in Italy and she's from Italy. She's always lived there. And I messaged her and March 1st, she's like, it's good here. It's not really like nothing to be concerned about. And I'm like, yeah, I think they're blowing it all out of proportion. And March 5th, she sent me a message and said, hold up, everything is shutting down here and it's not so great. And I'm like, wow, maybe I should really pay attention to this. So for that first couple of weeks of do we go, don't we go, what's happening? You know, am I on vacation? Am I working? What do I do? Do I change these tickets? It was stressful and intense trying to figure it out. And even when we made that decision, it was like, what do I do now? And I'm in the digital world. So my business has not really changed, but I do have clients that their business has changed quite a bit because they've had to close their doors temporarily and figure out what to do. So, you know, it was kind of stressful, but now I'm in this aha phase where it's like, boy, I got rid of all this stuff. I'm totally regrouped and refocused and it feels good. Like I'm like, my calendar looks good. I it's not overpacked, but it's packed with the right stuff.
Sure.
If that makes sense. It's filled with the right stuff of what I need to be doing and not all this extra fluff that I was throwing on for whatever reason. So this time has really been a time of clarity too for me.
Absolutely. So I think that's the other thing that I was going to say is, I was on this call the other day with this group that I'm in, and the guy who was speaking was talking about, oh God, I wrote it down. I have to tell you, production shame.
You're good. Go ahead.
I have a little bit of a lag. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Production shame. And I thought, oh my God, like that is so, so true. And I think it's exactly what you were talking about. Like all this extra stuff that we put on our schedule for what, right? For what purpose or what reason? To be productive. And this whole like this stuff that we buy into that we've got to be really productive. Like a lot of the posts that I'm seeing out there is like, write a book during this time, or, you know, do this during this time, or do that. Like, guys, it's okay. If you want to do that, if that is what's speaking to your heart, by all means, go on, do it, like jump in. But if you really just feel like you want to color or you want to like sit on the couch and watch Netflix, like be okay doing that too, right? Like honor whatever it is that's coming up for you and do not feel bad. Don't compare yourself to the people who are like getting all these projects done and doing all of this stuff. Like, great for them if they're doing that. And like, don't get sucked into this whole like production shaming thing, right? Like we as Americans, I think it's especially bad in America, really get sucked into this idea that we've got to work so many hours and we have to work so hard. We have to do all these things.
Oh, yes.
And we wear it like a badge of honor and like, oh my God, I worked 67 hours last week and come on. Like, it doesn't need to be like that.
It doesn't. And when I hear people say that, I feel bad because I mean, if you've been to my website, it's the hustle culture is killing your business, right? And it's killing you. And I believe that. And the reality is it's like, you don't have to do all that. You have to do the right stuff.
Yes.
You don't have to spin like on a hamster wheel, right?
Yeah.
Thinking that being busier means it's better. It's not.
It's not. It's worse on so many levels because, and I will tell you, like, I was one who was on that wheel for a really
me too.
And I will tell you that it's changing and shifting one of those old belief systems that like, oh my God, I have to work really hard for money. And it's like, no, I'm not going to have that belief system anymore because there are people out there that are not working really hard, that are making a boatload of money and they feel really great about it. Like I'm now going to be one of those people, right?
Right.
This is giving us an opportunity to really embrace that on a whole other level and to let go of the stuff, the fluff, the whatever it is that does not serve us anymore, right? So I love that you said that and are doing that. And I think, like if you want to be productive because you really ultimately from your soul want to, great, go do that. And don't get sucked into production shame. Like be okay allowing yourself to be wherever you are. And it could be that when you stop the struggle, the juggle, the all of that. It could be that you create a space to open up things to come in that you never thought would
Oh, yes.
happen to me in the last couple of weeks. I've gotten a couple of things that I was like, where did that come from? Like, I would have never expected that to pop through, right? But it was like, because I just was okay being easy about it and not feeling like I needed to create something or finish this or finish that or do. And that's a different game for me because I really was a doer for a long time.
Yeah.
It didn't always feel good, like I wasn't always getting the results that I thought I was getting. And a lot of that was in comparison to other, like who I was talking to or about, or,
Oh,
sharing
and
my
that'll kill you. That will kill you when you start comparing yourself to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I felt, I mean, I've done that. I think we all have done that, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed that when I start doing that, then I'm not being authentically who I am.
Yeah.
And I have actually gone through my social media post, and anybody who does things similar to me, I've unfollowed them. Not because I don't like them, not because I don't want to, because I don't want to see what they do. I don't want to be influenced by what they're doing. And I want to be authentic to me. I want to be authentic to my audience, my clients. Of course, I'm still learning and I'm still looking out, of new tips and tricks, but you have to be authentic to who you really are and not compare yourself.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I think is really important, what you saying that sparked this for me, is that sometimes I think that as entrepreneurs, we get into this imposter syndrome. We talked about this a little bit one time, but that we don't know or have all the answers. And not that I think I have all the answers. And I have a wealth of knowledge inside of here. And sometimes it is only this that creates this like, oh my God, I need to take another class, or I need to get another certification, or I need to in order to be able to stand in my space and to give the information or the whatever that I'm, giving. And that's just not true. Like I already, like so many of us that are out there, even for those people who are just starting on their journey of being an entrepreneur, you have a wealth of knowledge inside of yourself. Stand in that and own that. And not that you don't want to continue learning, not that you don't want to continue growing, but trust yourself on a really deep level and be okay not having to get another credential to feel confident in sharing the message that you have to share with whomever it is that you feel, compelled to share it with.
Yeah, I absolutely, I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
So if somebody is feeling panicked, okay, and I love that you have to kind of recognize it and own what's yours and not own what doesn't belong to you. It's just because of what we're going through right now with this coronavirus and all the changes. What else can we do? Like if somebody is really stressed out and not sure what to do, like what are some things they can do to kind of shift that?
I think there's a couple of things, right? You've got to have a good support mechanism around you, right? Like I always say that just as an entrepreneur, like we're out there doing things that most people would never consider doing, or that they judge us about because you don't have a real job, right? Like so you've got to have a great support system normally. Now you got to heighten that support system up, right? And one of the exercises that I tell people to do is go through and make your list of 10, right? And what your list of 10 is 10 people, maybe it's 10 other entrepreneurs, maybe it's, that really like come hell or high water will support you, like hands down. They're going to be your biggest cheerleaders, and not the people that, don't go to people who are also freaking out. Like that's just going to heighten your freak out, right? Like that's like saying I started a business and I'm going to go talk to Sally, who's one of my besties, but she does not get entrepreneurship at all. And all she's going to do is support the fear that already exists inside of me that I might fail. Don't go talk to her. Like that is right? Like you got to go talk to somebody who gets it, right? You got to go talk to somebody who you love and who will support you, but who has a mindset that you're really working to either, kind of accumulate yourself, right? Shifting and changing your mindset, or who already emulates that, right? They show up in their business the way that you kind of want to show up. You find that group, find that tribe of people. I don't normally think that when you're feeling that way, I don't think it comes from like your, like who you're speaking to, your audience, right? Like, I don't think it's that most of the time. Like, I think it's people that mentor me. It's people that coach me. It's people that, like, so it's
that's who I'm thinking of as you're saying it. Those
like,
ones that pull me out of the mud.
Look up to, right? And not that like, I'm not suggesting that I'm better than my audience, but they're looking to me as a leader, right? Most of the time, my people that follow me, I'm leading them in some capacity, or I'm giving them some kind of I'm holding space for them to do their work, right? To grow and to shift and to change. I think that's true for most of us. So it's not really coming from your tribe. It's coming from people that you look up to. It's coming from people that you want to, emulate, that you trust, and that you count on, and that have maybe a similar belief system, or their belief system is so radical from yours and you're wanting to shift that way that you really stay in that space. So I think, reaching out to that group of people, finding groups that kind of, like, for example, I love Abraham Hicks. Their laws of attraction, it's a laws of attraction thing, right? So there's lots of groups that talk about and or subscribe to a lot of the belief systems that Abraham Hicks puts out there. So go join one of those groups. So find, where is the mindset? Where are those people at? Go find a group within minutes of being in that group and reading some of the posts, whether it's Facebook or whatever, you'll be able to find somebody who you can kind of send a message to and reach out to if you don't already have that community kind of created for yourself. But don't feel bad. The other thing I think that I would say, just as kind of a last little nugget, is don't resist what's coming up for you, right? Like, if you're normally a pretty happy and cheery person and you're feeling, down, I've had a lot of my clients, like one today said, I don't want to be negative Nancy, but I'm feeling really bad and I'm sorry. Do not apologize for that. It's okay. Honor wherever you are, right? Like, if you're feeling whatever you're feeling, be okay in that space. Honor that. What we resist persists. So if you try to pretend like you're not having that emotional reaction or that response, sometimes it'll hang out there for a lot longer. Like, we are human beings, and it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. So
I love that. I love that. You have permission.
Yes, absolutely. So kind of just to recap a little bit, like, really get aware, create an awareness around your emotional responses, decide if they're yours or not yours, right? Make sure that you have a tribe of people, that you're really reaching out to, those mentors, those people that you look up to for support. Don't resist what it is that you're feeling and how you're feeling, because it'll hang out there longer. And then don't get sucked into production shame. Like, be okay just allowing yourself to receive, right? It could be that you just need to receive some things right now, whether that's a new client or an idea for a new product or a service. I mean, a lot of things can come out of this, and it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be that you're working like a dog to create,
Right.
So
right. No.
I can't remember.
I love it. No, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Great information, really good tips. And I think all of us can use it, whether you are a small business owner, or like you said, if you're in a relationship, or you're just in the house by yourself, right? And nobody to really personally interact with right now, which has to be really tough.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've got this virtual world that we can all interact with each other, but I think those are great tips for everybody, no matter what your situation is, as far as getting through this time. And I don't want to say funk, because I'm seeing a lot of good come out of it too.
It is going to revolutionize the way we do things. I hope, right? It is going to change that. The other thing that I think is really important to mention, I just last little thing, I feel like it's really important to be okay selling. I've seen a lot of posts out there like, are you kidding me? Or I can't believe you're marketing to me right now. Hell yes, market, right? Like, be okay in that space. Like, it is totally fine. If you're coming from a place of authenticity and intention and integrity, you absolutely should and could be selling your services or your products right now. Like, if it makes sense, it makes sense. And for those people that are judging that, they're not your people. So let them go. Like, don't worry about that at all.
Amen. And I get that a lot because people are like, I'm afraid to sell. And I'm like, don't be afraid to sell. Don't guilt people into your product because of what's happening, right? Don't use that, and help more than you sell right now. And understand, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but like, just understand that somebody may want to buy your service, but they can't right now. So it just might take a little time, and there's things you might be able to do depending on your product. Is maybe, you don't have to jump right to discounting. You can offer payment plans or offer a bundle where that's going to help. Like, if they purchase 10 of this, they get this for free. And that keeps that longevity going too with that particular person. So don't be afraid to sell. Don't stop selling, but be aware of what's going on. And if your sales cycle is a little bit slower, it's okay. Everybody is in this weird place right now. That doesn't mean to stop. That doesn't mean that you're not being heard.
It's also a really powerful time to joint venture. You know, so if you know somebody who you love, you're like, God, that chick's vibe is super cool. Or, I just have always wanted to work with that person in some capacity. Get together with them and do a brainstorming session, have a virtual cup of coffee or a virtual glass of wine, and you will find a way to collaborate that maybe you never thought of before. And it could be really awesome. So don't shy away from creating opportunities to work with other people that you've always wanted to work with, because it could be a really sweet vibe.
Yeah, I agree, which is why I'm doing this. And I'm reaching out to not just people who work with small businesses, but everybody, right? How can we all help each other? Because we're all in this together. We all need each other more than we've ever needed each other. So I'm grateful for you coming on and sharing that and talking with everybody. I'm grateful for everybody who's listening to this, whether you're listening to it live or on the replay. But I told you we'd do this for a half an hour, so I'm not going to take up more of your time.
Thank you so much.
I absolutely appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much, Emily. And I know we're going to be, I think we have a wine date, a Zoom wine date tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm going to see you tomorrow afternoon for happy hour. And it's the two of us. So
we practice what we preach, sister.
We do. We do. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll catch you next time.
Okay, bye, guys.